name is Jacqueline, and this is my mom,
Joanne.
and we are filming Sundays with Sito, which will be featuring Syrian and Italian dishes, home cooked by my mom.
And Jackie will be learning. So today we are assembling meatballs, and I have the ingredients out here that we're going to use. We are modifying the meat. Right now I only have beef and a little bit of sausage meat in here and some garlic and onions. And sometimes I put in pork and veal, but for today we're modifying with the sausage and the beef. So as you can see, I do have some diced onions and some garlic. And one of the ingredients that my sister told me about was Good Seasons Italian. I find using a pack of this for, I guess this is about 2.5 pounds of meat, will actually do the trick. So we will add this in. In addition, we will add 2 eggs. By the way, this is my grandmother's recipe, but I have modified it over the years. As you can see, I put the Good Seasons Italian dressing in. One of the things my mother taught me was to put some bread into the meatballs. But before you put the bread in, you have to make it moist, and I just add some water just to break it down from its natural form. And then I just break pieces up and add it to the meat. And as I had mentioned, I did add in some garlic and some onions, and the Good Seasons has basically your salt, your pepper, and a few other ingredients, so we should be good with that. The only other thing I think I'll add to this is some breadcrumbs, just to keep it all together. I would say probably about 1/2 cup.
Okay, Mom, so what are we doing?
We are rolling the meatballs, and you're going to help me by rolling them in the breadcrumbs before we fry them in olive oil.
So these are about the size of an egg that she's rolling them, and then I'm just coating them in the breadcrumbs.
Right.
Continue doing this until we finish.
So at this point, we're over at the stove and we are cooking our sausage, which is in some olive oil. And we will be cooking our meatballs. I think we got our pan a little too hot. I'm just going to take that off for a second for the meatballs. And I will be adding the meatballs to the frying pan with olive oil. And as this sausage is cooking, I'll flip it. And I will be putting in the onions. I would say that's a nice size 1 onion diced up. And I have some fresh garlic that I diced up garlic. It adds great flavor. And then I have some salt and pepper. I'm just going to pinch that and throw it in. Probably about a half a teaspoon of salt and a half a teaspoon of pepper. Then I have some oregano and some parsley. I would say a heaping tablespoon of each. You'll start to smell the aroma of that any second now. Just give that a stir. And basically you want to cook this until the onions and garlic are, mostly the onions are translucent. At this point the onions are cooked and the sausage is browning, and we're just going to give it a stir. And we're going to let that sit for a little bit while we continue to cook the meatballs. You have to turn the meatballs frequently so that they don't burn. So now that we have our onions and garlic and sausage brown, we will be adding 3 cans of crushed tomatoes, 1 can of puree, and 1 small can of tomato paste. And what I found over the years, and I found this at Corrado's the first time, was Jersey Fresh crushed tomatoes. Oh my God, the best sauce you ever want to have. So if you're not at Corrado's at any time soon, sometimes ShopRite sells this brand certain times of the year. So keep your eyes open for Jersey Fresh crushed tomatoes. So I'll be adding each of these cans in, scraping the can. And then after I get all the sauce out, I'll go over to the sink and I'll add water to this and swish it around so that we get every ounce of those delicious Jersey tomatoes. So 3 cans of crushed, 1 can of puree, 1 can of paste. If you need to stretch it a little bit more, you can also add, they make large cans of tomato sauce. You can add 1 or 2 cans of sauce. But the more sauce that you add to your pot, the more meat you need to flavor it. I mean, this is just beautiful, these tomatoes. Look at that. So at this point, I added in the crushed tomatoes, the puree, and I'll be adding now the small can of tomato paste. And you're just going to blend that all together. As you can, and then as I mentioned before, what I do is I put a half a can of water in one of the cans and I just toss it back and forth. I'll just add a little bit of this and then only add the extra if needed. So I'm going to blend all this together. Let it simmer. Well, we're just going to let it simmer for a little while. We're going back to our meatballs at this point. And I hate to say, there's no longer 27, there's 25 meatballs left. I'm not going to say where the other two went. So you're going to take all your meatballs out, and these have to be room temperature before you add them to your sauce. Otherwise they will fall apart. So here are your meatballs. And you're just gonna let them cool. So keep them aside. And you're gonna stir your sauce. Let it simmer for, I have to say, I like to cook my sauce 4 to 5 hours. So we're gonna let this simmer for a while, and probably in about, maybe 1 or 2 hours, I'll put the meatballs in. After your sauce comes to a slight simmer, I normally add 2 bay leaves, and it gives it a nice flavor. So I'll just add that to the sauce. And don't forget, every time you open your lid, just give it a stir. I still have the meatballs set aside until they're completely cooled. And as soon as they're cooled, I will add them to the sauce. Especially this time of year, you may not find fresh bay leaves, so I just get it over by the spice rack at any of your supermarkets, and they're just bay leaves. Anytime you walk past the pot, you're gonna stir your sauce and make sure you get all the little bits and pieces of the onions and garlic so that they do not stick to the bottom.